David and Victoria Beckham have appeared together publicly for the first time since Brooklyn Beckham launched that blistering attack against his parents. So Victoria and David, they stepped out as Victoria received one of France's most prestigious cultural honours in Paris, Josh.
Yes, that's absolutely right. And I think what can be said about this is and people are saying online, this is a message to the royal family. This is how you do it, because it wasn't just David and Victoria. They were surrounded by the rest of the family. So Romeo and Cruz, their two other sons with their partners were there alongside their 14-year-old daughter, Harper Beckham, as well, which, by the way, she looked quite downcast at certain points, because actually when they were seen in Paris walking out of the venue all together, the paparazzi, I've seen the footage online, the paparazzi were asking, where's Brooklyn? Where's Brooklyn? Why isn't he here? Which seemed somewhat, I don't want to say nasty, but somewhat petty, the European press there. It's just a very sad situation. Brooklyn Beckham has gone absolutely nuclear with that blistering attack. And actually, one might say that actually Brand Beckham is doing exactly what Brooklyn Beckham was saying in his statement, closing ranks, having the photo opportunity, all the family there, all sticking together whilst their son across the globe is having this blistering, what's been called a nuclear attack on their parents, on his parents, with a carefully staged, carefully choreographed sort of public appearance, whilst all of this drama is circling round, whilst all the memes about the dancing at the wedding, which I've heard isn't necessarily of the gyrating sort of factor, which is what's been kind of circulating in the memes online. I've heard it's been kind of more intimate, more nuzzling on the neck, just slightly inappropriate. I don't want to say attention seeking, but very much Victoria being kind of in the center of attention at her son and daughter-in-law's wedding. It's been reported that Mark Antony called out for Victoria to come to the stage, saying the most beautiful woman in the room, Victoria Beckham, when of course when you're at a wedding you should always refer to the bride as the most beautiful woman in the room. But I think, you know, people actually have asked me when Brooklyn released that statement, my phone obviously blew up, people wanting the tea, wanting all the goss, wanting the information. And actually, what I think the situation boils down to is, and I think it's entirely possible that Nicola Peltz, I'm not saying she is, but she might be perceived to be spoilt and entitled and come from a billionaire. And then at the very same time, David and Victoria might have maybe a little bit of a problem with, you know, not having Brooklyn under their thumb anymore. Because if we do compare it to Meghan and Harry, I know a few people online have. Meghan was the one, when marrying into the royal family, was marrying into the name, the money, the status, the clout, being a princess slash duchess. You know, that was what she was going into. Whereas this time around, it's Nicola Peltz's family, the Peltzes, they're the billionaires. They have money that David and Victoria could only dream of. David and Victoria pummeling their millions of pounds into what's been deemed as a failing fashion business for Victoria, even though I think it's fair to say her beauty empire has actually been the real moneymaker there and is actually a success, and the makeup and the beauty products have been a success for Victoria, as well as their Netflix documentaries. However, Brooklyn marrying into that family has given him agency to do what he wants. He's now got the support of Nelson Peltz, the billionaire hedge fund manager, businessman from America, who's supporting his business and his venture now. And so he's effectively, I don't want to say escaping the clutches, but he's the one moving away from being under the thumb of David and Victoria. And they might have a problem with loosening control, with that kind of loosening of control of Brooklyn, not having him under the thumb. As Brooklyn said in his statement, there was a problem with signing away the trademark or around the rights to his surname, the rights to his name, and he says that they've never been the same to him since. So those two things can come around that can be there at the same time, that, you know, Nicola might have gotten on the wrong side of David and Victoria Beckham, and she may or may not be spoiled and entitled coming from all of this money. I'm not saying that she is, just saying that it's speculation. And it also might be the case that David and Victoria might be controlling, might be difficult. You know, I know from working in the industry that actually David and Victoria are very much perfectionists when it comes to brand Beckham, when it comes to their brand. They're not necessarily the easiest people to deal with, especially at events on red carpets. You know, Victoria isn't necessarily the most approachable person to interview, so I've been told, and I've been there and I've witnessed it at certain events as well. Going back to 2012, I was at the launch of the Spice Girls musical Viva Forever. I was there with the charity that night, and wanting to take a picture with Victoria and David, you know, it wasn't necessarily easy. They weren't approachable. They're not necessarily the easiest people to deal with. So it might be a bit of a Johnny Depp and an Amber Heard situation where actually there's problems on both sides and they come together in a cluster, whatever, of absolute toxicity, which has kind of spilled out now into dirty laundry, gone absolutely nuclear, where we now have this incredibly sad situation of a family of being completely ripped apart.
Just finally, Josh, before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on celebrities who are speaking out against ICE, yet are being pretty quiet, saying nothing when it comes to what's happening in Iran. Let's just take a look at some of the celebrities that are speaking out against ICE. We've seen Natalie Portman and Olivia Wilde. They've been out wearing ICE out pins. Ariana Grande has been posting against ICE. So has Cynthia Nixon, Jane Fonda. A lot of celebrities not really saying much about Iran and what is happening there, with reports of tens of thousands of people being killed. The reports coming out of Iran, absolutely horrific. I must give credit to Dua Lipa. Dua Lipa has shared a powerful quote speaking up for the people in Iran. It says, "In Iran, we are seeing slaughter at a scale like never before. Use your voice. Iran cannot be silenced." The singer has told her 88.8 million followers, keep your eyes on Iran. Josh, can I get your thoughts? What do you make of the celebrities, of course, choosing to speak up against ICE, yet being quiet on Iran, and, of course, your thoughts on Dua Lipa speaking out for the people there?
Well, I actually take a bit of a nuanced approach because I know Natalie Portman was mentioned there, but of course, she's always been a massive advocate for the state of Israel. She obviously grew up there. She's worked there, you know, and she obviously previously spoke out for the hostages and support of the hostages, showing solidarity. So I look at it kind of on an individual case by case basis. I think it's, of course, rather predictable. We know about celebrities in Hollywood leaning towards the left of the political agenda, supporting the Democrat Party. We know of people like George Clooney going to fundraisers for Obama and Biden and all of that sort of stuff. So people like Jane Fonda, who's been very big on climate and anti-gun, and has been politically active. Of course, she's going to speak against ICE because, of course, what has been going on in the United States when it comes to the shooting of some of these people has been absolutely tragic, and it should not have happened.